Well, another side of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East is the impact that it's having on mortgages. According to Money Facts, the last 48 hours has seen the biggest fall in available mortgage options since the 2022 mini budget, with more than 470 being withdrawn. Let's speak now to Sally Mitchell, who's a mortgage advisor for Verst Financial. Sally, thank you for joining me this evening. So just explain how the conflict in the Middle East is impacting the mortgage market.
Well, it's happened so quickly, hasn't it? I mean, we've seen it over the last few days. As you say, products being withdrawn and what is left and what is being replaced with going up in cost between 0.25 and 0.5%, which is a big jump. The geopolitical confidence, problems, issues really do have a direct bearing on what we pay for a mortgage. The minute energy costs increase, so that's the oil price per barrel, which we've seen really flying high in the last week, that does have a knock-on effect on global inflation. If we can't keep our inflation under control, or as we're trying to do all the time, reduce it, then that has an effect on gilt yields, swaps, and that's how we price mortgage rates. So it's almost like a perfect storm. The knock-on is just like a vicious cycle.
Yeah, and Sally, you talk about products being withdrawn. How would you describe the reaction so far from lenders?
Knee-jerk, swift, sudden. It's unusual to see so many products being withdrawn really quite quickly, and increases as well. It just reflects, I think, the appetite for risk that perhaps has changed in their lending decisions, and they're withdrawing products that they just don't really want to be lending on.
And so how would you compare this to the last time? I mentioned it there before introducing you to the 2022 mini budget. Is it comparable to that, or would you say potentially it's more serious?
No, it's not at the moment. But the trouble is, we don't know where this is going to end. It depends if it escalates, if there are actual problems and damage to the infrastructure that supplies our oil, then that could actually have a knock-on effect for very much longer. We were looking at potentially 2 to 3 base rate cuts this year. The first, next meeting is actually next week. Economists are saying little chance of that at the moment. And that's going to have, again, an effect on mortgage rates.
And nearly 2 million people due to come off fixed rates this year. Yeah. What advice would you give to people?
If you are within 6 months of your current rate ending, please, please, please speak to your mortgage broker and get some advice. You can lock in a rate possibly 6 months before the end of yours, and keep that in your back pocket just to hedge against any further escalations and increases in rates. If things come down, if things get better, then you can change to a cheaper rate.
Okay, Sally, that sounds like sage advice. Thank you so much for joining me on Drive this evening. That's Sally Mitchell, who's a mortgage advisor for Verst Financial, talking about another of these side effects impacting people as a result of the conflict in the Middle East. It is coming up to 20 past.